Hey, fellow film fans, England Teen here, and I just got back from watching Little Mermaid. Hey, look, that's half of her anyway. Okay, so let's get this straight. I'm not reviewing the fact that she's black. I'm not reviewing all of the protests. I had those protests too. I don't like the fact that they did that. I think that what they should do is create more African fables for Disney and so forth, so on. There's no need for the race swap. I think it's dumb. That being said, it's on film now, so I've got to review this movie based on what it is, not what I wanted it to be, not what I was expecting, or not what I think it should be. Okay. So I guess you're a lot of you may be familiar with The Little Mermaid, the 30-year classic. I think we're looking at these things wrong, by the way. This movie is something like 58 minutes longer than the original animated classic. And I think part of this, we're thinking about wrong. You've got songs from the live stage play. You've got this very much filmed as if it were a stage play. I think instead of thinking of these as live action remakes of the animated films, this is more a remake of the stage play. This is more of a remake of what was on Broadway than what was in the theaters. And that's just it, man. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff here. I actually enjoy the extra stuff as well. It lended a lot of weight to the characters. They really did flesh out a lot of stuff. Let me get this also right out there. Is this as good as or better than the classic? No, it's definitely it's not as good as the classic. So, you know, you do have that going. A lot of the stuff that I thought I would have a problem with, I did have a problem with. There's the scene when they go in through the ships, they want to do realistic lighting and such. And it is very dark. I'm going to try not to do any spoilers, but on the other hand, it's a 30-year movie. So if you've seen it a long time ago, it is the movie, much like many of the live action Disney films. This isn't a shot for shot remake. They do put in iconic shots. If you compare them to the animated film, the animated film wins most of the time because, of course, you can do brighter colors and you can do more animated faces. Not that the actress can't be animated. If you ever go back and watch the making of Little Mermaid, they hired an actress in order to do all of Ariel's scenes. And a lot of that big the anime eyes, by the way, was a decision by the animators. But they had an actress who was like, oh, like that. And she was just all over the place, big acting. That would look, I think might look a little stupid in what we were seeing today, but it is possible to have an actress do that kind of big reaction and action. So let me tell you, right off the bat, you get about 20 minutes extra footage. They add in a little bit of story, like, you know, that scene where Little Mermaid is supposed to be in the whole song thing. In this case, the daughters have spread out to the 7 seas, and each daughter has a sea to report on to the king. Okay, that's kind of like in the original one. Other than that, you're getting a lot of new information. You do get the bit with the boat from the first movie. And I'm watching this, I'm going, okay, this is fine. It actually looks good. I wish it was a little brighter in some scenes. That's fine. And then I think it comes to a part of your world. And I said, you know what? She's got to nail it. In order to be with this girl in this movie, she is given an almost impossible task. She has to perform part of your world perfectly, because this is the I Want song. One of the brilliant things Howard Ashman gave to Disney movies was the I Want song. He wanted to bring in Broadway into animated films. It wasn't like that before. You know, you definitely had music, but it wasn't set up like a Broadway show. After Little Mermaid, everything was, and that's where it really started, was Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid saved Disney, by the way. It was not in a great position. I mean, granted, Oliver and Company was good. A lot of people loved Great Mouse Detective, but they weren't burning up the box offices. Definitely not Black Cauldron, which I know has its fans. Oh, I didn't even save this thing out here, by the way. But still, or share it out. It has its fans, but I was saying that this is it. And I even told Gail, I said, she's got to nail this. And she starts, and it's really quiet. And of course, she sings the song. And I got to tell you, she fucking nailed it. She really did. She didn't do a Bobby Benson impersonation. I'm very happy with that, because it would have it would have not seemed right had she just done an imitation of the actress that did the animation, the animated series. So she goes about, she's swimming around, and she's a lot more animated. And by that, I mean, she moves around a lot more than the animated series does. You actually see her swimming around her cavern while she's singing the song. She adds a lot of weight and a lot of emotion to it. Not saying it's better than Benson, but did I say Bobby Benson? That's the guy. What was her name? Something Jodie Benson. I said Bobby. Yeah, Bobby's an actor. But at the end of it, I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. She nailed it. I was on that. I thought, okay, this girl's got the goods. This girl's got the goods. Let's see how this goes. She's got me on her side now. I want to see how she does. So obviously, it follows the story of the animated series. She gets in trouble for going to the surface. The father says, "Don't do that." And I guess I should say spoilers, but the movie's 30 years old. You've probably seen it, but there you go. Hey, Ahsoka, what's up, Tevia? I still think this remake is a bad idea. Well, you know, look, I thought that all live action remakes are a bad idea. I really do. Okay, good. Now the movie's here. Let's actually review the movie and not how we feel before we see the movie. That's what I'm saying. You can't, if you are going in, oh, well, this sucks, then you're not giving it a fair shot. That's on you. That's not on the film. And I've already seen it. I've already seen the fucking black pills. And they're not giving it. They have not for 1 second given it a fair shot. Like I said, we hate this fucking movie. Now let's watch it and review it. You gotta, I mean, we hated it before we went and saw it. Oh, look at this one scene taken out of context and so forth. Okay, yeah, I hate this movie. Watch it and review it. Give it a fair shot. That's what I'm doing right here, right now. But I've already seen that Chris guy who used to do those reviews up against the black with somebody answering questions like he's somebody important. And then, you know, I mean, he's just another black pill. I've already seen him. Yeah, okay, he hates it. You know, yeah. If you go in, if you go in with the thought that this is gonna suck, you're going in. You got to go in with a thought of, all right, I don't know. It might suck. It might not. It could be good. Let's see. Like I said, this movie to me hinged on, does she hit part of your world? And she freaking knocked it out of the park. Absolutely fantastic. I was so happy for that. Because after that, I said, this could be good. This could be good. Let's check it out. I even said that to my wife. I said, okay, now it's a ball game. You know, because I was actually, you know, for as much as I got on to you about that, I went in thinking the same thing. Oh, God, I don't want to. And it wasn't just because, oh, they race swapped. Oh, they did this. It's because name the good live action Disney films. I mean, I'm not so on the side of hating these things that I can't tell you there aren't any good ones. I thought Cinderella was good. I liked the original Alice in Wonderland, which kind of kicked all of this off. I liked Dumbo when nobody else did. Jungle Book, everybody loves. I am possibly the only person you'll ever meet that will say good things about Cruella. But so there are good ones out there. Some of them I don't like. I don't like for different reasons than others. Lady and the Tramp is a straight to Disney Plus live action remake. I don't like it because, oh my gosh, they race swapped the wife. They race swapped Darling. It's Jim Deere and Darling. And the only reason why I don't like it is because since they made her black, this is now an interracial couple in 1910. That's not going over, guys. And I thought, wow, you're really kind of whitewashing the whole fact that these guys would have been drummed out of freaking town, aren't you? And that's actually what I had a problem with Lady and the Tramp. The rest of the movie was Lady and Tramp, right? With live action dogs with the little mouths moving and such. So I didn't like it, but I hated it for that reason. So yeah, I understand. For as much as I said, I go with that as also. And you hear that they made the voice actress of Ariel to say that her film she voice acted in was sexist. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that actually they cue people to do that because it gets people talking. Hey, Kevin Vu, what's up? How you doing? The Black Cauldron basically nearly bankrupt. Yeah, very expensive. One of the first uses of CGI in a movie. Yep. And in all honesty, kind of boring. I invited Dalton on, and he hasn't shown up yet. So I'm thinking if I badmouth Black Cauldron enough, he'll show up. Let's see. Oh, by the way, MK, this is a one subject video. This is a one subject video. I'm reviewing this movie. It might go off to the other movies as it has, but yeah, that's what I'm doing as far as the Disney live remakes and such. So we get the scene where she does Part of Your World. Her father forbids her to go up to the surface, but after she does Part of a World, just like the animated film, she sees the bright colors and she wants to go see, and there's a fireworks show. It's Eric's birthday. They're having the celebration. A storm hits. He's thrown overboard. Ariel saves him. She does her bit of the song, and like we all see, you know, he's rescued, and she does that Part of Your World and does the whole thing with the water behind her. Here's the problem with it. They showed it like in the original, it's like a straight on shot, so the water frames her. In this one, they kind of go off to the side, and it's not as dramatic. So yeah, I get it. Some of these scenes are definitely a downgrade. The muted colors, it is also a downgrade. The next song up though is We Were Lied To. We were freaking lied to. Under the Sea. So we see this thing, of course, and this is why I say you see out of context clips where you see Sebastian and he's walking up and down Ariel's fins and all that kind of stuff. The seaweed is always greener, you know, that kind of thing. And the whole thing was, oh my gosh, look, the ocean is empty. It's ugly. It's blah, 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 blah. No. Look, this isn't The Little Mermaid. This isn't 1990s or 1989's Little Mermaid. This is now. They fill that freaking screen, man. It's not with the same stuff, but it's an all different choreography, all different fish and all that kind of stuff. But they fill that freaking screen. It is colorful. It's big. It's an epic song the way it needs to be. And I was like, yes, good job, you. Good job, you. And that's the way I go into this. I am rooting for this movie to be good because I don't want to spend my money on bad movies. Yeah, I think it would be a lot more lucrative if I just, oh man, this movie sucks. Everything you thought was right. This movie's balls bad. You know, if you, it would be more lucrative to me for that. I want to give an honest opinion. I personally can't get into the Mermaid live action. A lot of people can't get into any of them, but I understand that. Ahsoka says, I like the live action 90s 100. Glenn Close freaking nailed it, right? She was freaking badass. Let's see. My grandparents were an interracial couple in 1930s and was still not that well received when they announced it 3 decades later. Yeah. And that was a problem I had with Lady and the Tramp. Yeah. Hey, MK, please don't take that too bad. It's just I really want to do the review today. I was very excited coming out of this film. Let's see. I just think it doesn't work. I think Ursula is great, but other than that, I just don't feel immersed. Did you see the movie? That's the big question. Did you see the movie? I just don't feel immersed. I think Haley did fine, but I also feel like they didn't really do much with her. I disagree. And since I'm married to a redhead, I'm genuinely doesn't make me happy the act of replacing redhead yet again. That is an outside the film thing. I understand the thought, and I had that same thought before the movie. Once again, as soon as I buy my ticket, all that I can't say it's bullshit, but all that protest, that's out the window. Once I buy that ticket, and this is me, you don't have a YouTube channel. I have to be this way. I feel I have to be this way. As soon as I buy my ticket, I can't let all of that stuff affect my opinion, because I have to give you an honest opinion. I've set this up myself. This is my job. I have chosen this as my job, and I can't for the life of me lie to you just because it would get me an extra 100, 200, 300, 400,000 clicks, or not 400,000, but you get what I'm saying. I understand though, if you guys, you didn't set yourself up as this is your job, so you can carry that shit into the theater all you want. This is where we're coming from. And yes, by the way, Kevin, I absolutely agree. The ginger side, as they're calling it, is absolutely disgusting. I think yeah. I think the movie was okay. Not the best, not the worst, says Dalton, come on in. Come on in. Where are you, dude? You should be here helping out, man. I left the StreamYard in our DM. Jump in, man. Especially if you've seen it. Especially if you've seen it. I want to hear your opinions on this. I want to see if where we agree and disagree. Dalton and I usually, he's on this side. I'm the good angel, and he's the bad angel. Hey, this ain't bad, man. That really sucked. No, it wasn't. It was yeah. But yeah, come on in, man. So where were we? Oh, Under the Sea. Yeah, it was a big epic song. They had a colorful fish and everything. They tried to do it a little realistic, but obviously it's a fantasy film, so they did have fantasy elements in it. Oh, okay. You were finishing it. Okay. I'll let him chime in on what from here, what we got in there. You know what I'm trying to say when he jumps in. The main thing I couldn't get behind was the crab talking like a human. He should have talked like a crab. That's what you wanted to hear. By the way, that's Twiddles also. Twiddles will sit there, and if he's happy, he'll go. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, I didn't mind it. I guess while I'm waiting for Dalton to jump in, I could talk about the other three elements: flounder, scuttle, and Sebastian. I didn't have a problem with them. Now, granted, I have a problem with their animation because it's freaking creepy. It really is. I thought the same thing with the Lion King, except for the Lion King, they actually animated Sebastian's eyes to be able to show the emotion. And I'm glad they did that, because the worst of these live action films is the Lion King. And it would be like, Papa, no, you're dead now. Okay, here we go. And this, it would be that wooden. I hated that movie. Hated it. I don't see the Lion King improving on staring at a blank screen for the same amount of time that the Lion King movie took. If you sat in that movie theater and it was just a white screen throughout the end, you couldn't see or hear anything, you would have had a better time than actually watching the live action. That's how bad I feel about that movie. So anywho, so Sebastian is creepy looking. Flounder is a little bit better. He's a little bit more animated as well, but he's still live action kind of fish, which there's a scene where he's actually out of water, and instead of like, oh, that's kind of a cute scene, blah, 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 you're like, get him back in the water, man. Get him in the water. Yeah, because and that's something that Sebastian does. Hello to Mr. Dalton coming in. Oops, he tried to add himself, and I removed him. All righty. I'm talking about the 3 sidekicks. Well, let me tell you a little bit what I thought about Scuttle. Awkwafina. What is up with her, by the way? Okay, in Jumanji, she played Danny DeVito. Now she's playing Buddy Hackett. Why is Hollywood thinking if we need a short Jewish man, we're going to hire Awkwafina? What is up with that? Seriously.
Probably the same logic that results in the ginger side.
I guess, yeah.
I know how we will show we aren't racist. We'll replace all the old Jewish guys with
Awkwafina. Not like with Asian people. It's just with Awkwafina. She's playing all the old Jewish guys. Okay, so I'm up to Under the Sea. What did you think of the film up to that point? Like, what were you thinking about the elements?
The visuals are a bit hard for me to get past.
The what?
The visuals of the movie are a little bit hard for me to get past. It looks... Everything looks like it could have used a render or two more.
I am going to ask you a question. I think this is relevant. Okay. You said you just finished it, and I notice you're not in a car.
Yeah, no,
Did we fly the skull and crossbones?
Yo.
Okay, just wondering. So I doubt it was HD. It was cam, right?
Right, but I'm usually good at judging regardless.
All right.
It did strike me that things probably could have used a render or two more.
Yeah. One thing I told the audience, and I told Gail when we were watching it, the ship scene was hard for me to see. I couldn't. Yeah, it was. They wanted realistic lighting, and they just made it way too dark.
It was much better than the trailers, though. I will give it that. I was dreading having to even look at the thing from the trailers, and it was a lot better than the trailers.
They got to think about what they're showing us, because every song, every clip I saw was better in the movie than it was on YouTube or on Twitter when they clipped it. Okay, I said that the make or break moment for me and this Haley Berry or whatever her name is was she's got to nail part of your world. How did you feel about that?
I didn't think the change in tempo or style was all that necessary. She did fine. It's just that I'm one of those people that's like, don't rejigger the tune. Just play it as straight as possible.
I thought it slightly. I thought different because she needed to stand out rather than do an imitation. But and I think she nailed it. I was so happy. I was so happy when she did. I said, yes, okay, we got a movie now, kids. Let's see how it goes. Then I guess next up, the Under the Sea. What'd you think about that one?
Again, apart from my previously stated, the visuals bugged me a bit.
I disagree.
It was fine.
Yeah.
That's I guess what is the most positive thing I can think of is that, like, it was okay. Like, the stuff they added was mostly okay, and the stuff that was supposed to be resembling the original was fine, apart from a few little nitpicks I have, especially the stuff they left out, even though they added new stuff, and of course the changing of the lyrics of "Kiss the Girl," which
I didn't. That didn't bother me so much, but we'll get there. Because I'm trying to go through it. Let's get some. Let's see. Unless you wanted to have your house burned, and Ahsoka's still talking about the interracial relationship. I steered off into movies that I didn't like. Live action films. You and I really have to delve into that. We got to do a top 10 or just the best and worst. Go through them. Basically,
I think I'm quite a bit more positive, or at least neutral, on them than a lot of people. A lot of people just viscerally hate the fact that they even exist.
Well, I do, by the way. But that's what I was saying in the beginning. I hate live action remakes. I hate these live action remakes. But as soon as I buy a ticket, I've got to clear my mind. Let's go in. Let's judge it what on its own merits. So let's catch up to the comments. So you seen Little Mermaid? Yep. If you notice Sebastian's mouth moved like a human's would, yeah, I didn't mind that. I don't mind the animations. I thought they needed it because they tanked Lion King. Kevin saying I went in Cruella with zero forethought, but Cruella I absolutely enjoyed, one of my favorites as well. Hate how they call Lion King a live action. Yeah, you're right. They didn't train the lions. They all CGI'd them. It's an animated film.
Photorealistic is a better way of phrasing it.
Elephants have formed bands with humans, and there was herd of elephants who formed a bond with an elderly woman. Then, okay. My problem is that Hollywood is 100% changing a redhead into a black person, but every other character is allowed to be scrutinized. Yes, we will talk about that. We will have a day where we will talk about gendercide, and you can join us if you want. Disney live action Lion King just showed them as a neutral face. Yeah, all throughout. It was just... And one thing I appreciate about the OG Little Mermaid is that Ariel actually sounds like a redhead. Has that sort of back of the throat raspiness when she talks.
Huh.
Holy shit, I never thought about that. That is, I'm thinking of the redheads I know in my life and maybe I've seen on TV. You're right. I never thought about that. Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
I'll be darned.
Okay. So they find the dad finds out, the King Triton finds out Ariel's going to the surface. He gets angry. He goes to the grotto and destroys everything. This sends Ariel into Ursula's lair. Now, here's the thing. Unlike the original movie, we've been getting little pieces and clips of Ursula all the way throughout. And right away, I was like, okay, here we go. Because look, Dalton and I, for the last, 5 years now, have been going, Queen Latifah, man. Queen Latifah.
The only criticism Anglintine and I actually had when Halle Berry was cast wasn't even about Halle Berry. It was, oh, for the love of God, why would you cast Melissa McCarthy as Ursula?
Yeah,
well, I will be darned. We owe Melissa McCarthy an apology.
A big ass apology, man. Holy shitta. This woman,
which here is the thing. I have come to the conclusion that Melissa McCarthy is a little bit like Adam Sandler, in the sense that she can act apparently.
Oh yeah, she's Oscar nominated
when
twice.
She bothers to. It's just that she doesn't usually bother to. But I will be darned if she didn't do a pretty darn good job as Ursula. Okay,
now I said I didn't want Halle Berry doing a Jodie Benson impersonation. Melissa McCarthy comes out, and she's obviously trying to channel
Pat Carroll.
Original, Pat Carroll. Thank you. It was she was trying to channel that voice, and she freaking nailed it. I was like, holy crap. And so the big song comes up. This is the villain song. And this isn't just the villain song. This is one of the
One of the greatest villain songs ever put to screen by Disney.
Yeah. Pat Carroll, brilliant. She was amazing. Like, you look at, you hear her, and then you look at her, and then you get that performance in the original when you go, nobody on earth could ever play Ursula except for Pat Carroll. And Melissa McCarthy went, excuse me.
Hold my undersea beer.
And I got to tell you that the Poor Unfortunate Soul was amazing. I loved that song in this movie. I absolutely enjoyed every bit of it. Now, granted, they left out a couple of lyrics. They didn't change them. They left them out. They just about, and don't forget the power of body language. They left that part out.
Yeah.
But the menace, there was one moment I thought where Melissa McCarthy popped out. Like she wasn't Ursula, where she says,
there was that one joke that was like, okay, Melissa, that's you were doing good. Pull it back in.
But yeah, she did immediately because she goes, "You're the sea witch." The what now? And when she did that, I was like, "There's Melissa. But thankfully it wasn't like the Ghostbusters where they just let her riff and ruin
again, like I say, she's like Adam Sandler. She can act when she bothers to act. It's just usually she plays an exaggerated version of herself instead.
Yep. I thought Melissa McCarthy was perfect. By the way, Ahsoka is pointing out that Jodie Benson's a redhead, so there you go. Melissa McCarthy was perfect, says Kevin Vu. Never questioned it. Be right back. Dinner. Oh yeah, I've got barbecue pork. I've made some with cherry barbecue sauce. So good. After this, that's where I'm going. Yes, Ursula's voice sounded pretty much the same as her animated voice as Ahsoka. Was McCarthy Ursula as good as Ledger's Joker? With people assuming shit. Okay, here's my problem with that is I have elevated Heath Ledger's Joker to icon status. Now, if you ask me,
so has everyone freaking else.
If you ask me, was Pat Carroll's performance? Yes. Right now, I can tell there's a little bit of recency bias, right? I want to give it a little chance. Now, what you're hearing, I literally came back from the theater and did a whole bunch of thumbnails and boom, started this. So yeah, you could what is that? Tribute some of my excitement because of recency bias. But in all honesty, as I was talking to my wife, Gail, on the way home, I was like, yeah, this, you know what? I enjoyed this far more than I thought I would. But I really actually actively enjoyed this. This is a good movie.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a bomb. I was expecting it to just be an entire bomb. But
my gosh,
no,
everything we've been hearing about it, it was like here's our new it's like Disney Bob Iger stood in front of a dumpster. Here's our new Little Mermaid.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the upshot of this is Disney, fire your trailer producers.
Oh yes,
fire them.
Yes, holy
trailer
crap,
producers be gone.
Trailer for this. I have to say that the villain song was the best song here. Yep, and we're about to talk about the worst. That one joke was the only time she broke the voice. Yeah, Ahsoka, where she's like, the what? Yeah, that was when you saw Melissa McCarthy. Thankfully, she got it back. And yeah, but the thing is, I got to admit, I laughed. There were a couple of things here that I got to tell you. As soon as I was able to relax, get into it, I let myself go. I put myself in their hands. Very few things pulled me out of it. Let's see. We got Gino. Similar to the dust up when Hollywood colorized black and white movies, kind of silly about hating remakes because the original still exists, which is what I've always said. I've always said that. It didn't ruin the original. The original's on my shelf. It's like when I hear people say, oh, they ruined the comic. No, they didn't. It's right here. I can read it anytime. Yeah. We also should do like a top 10 remakes that are as good or better. Let's see. The original still exists and nobody is forcing anyone to see it. And that is the truth. Now, here's, as I said in the beginning of this, I have made this my job. So obviously I want to go see the movies that are being talked about and have the most controversy. Gino, this is the middle of the road, pretty much a C- with this one. It's not as bad as what I expected, says Ahsoka, and that's her opinion. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now, the next song up, we see Prince Eric, and he's got this longing song himself. This is what I want song. And yeah, it's all about it's not about him finding her, which a couple of lines are. It's about her finding him. I'm assuming the song's called Again because that's the one word that's repeated 9,000 times.
I get really annoyed at song titles because sometimes they'll repeat two different phrases and I'll think, okay, so it's titled this, and no, it's the other phrase.
I don't care what it's called. I'm calling it Again because that word pops up, like I said, 9,000 times. Here's my problem with this one. Song sucked. There was no build. There was no real hook. Nothing.
It didn't need to exist.
It didn't need to be in the movie. Yeah, the guy singing it was great.
And let's talk about the one song that wasn't here that definitely freaking should have been. And that is Les Poissons, Les Poissons.
Yeah.
How I love Les Poissons.
That's a little later in the movie, but yes, the one song they cut out was the one where the chef is chasing Sebastian around with a cleaver, Le Poisson, Le Poisson, where it's talking about how he's cutting fish up and everything. I hope I can understand why they cut it out for time, and really, it really is not appropriate for the story. And by appropriate, I mean it doesn't need to be there for the story. But I hope that's the reason they cut it out, and not because they would not
the animal cruelty quote unquote angle.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, cartoon?
Because
now. Oh, go ahead.
There's scarcely a part of Little Mermaid that I didn't love as a kid, but Les Poissons was freaking hilarious.
That was your favorite? So Little Mermaid, she does the deal. She gets her legs. She goes to meet Eric, and he does the
before we continue on from the Ursula scene too much, one thing I was sad not to be here, speaking of things that weren't here that should have been, the creepy little people who she's made a deal with and has transfigured into little shrimp things.
They're dead. They're dead. That's what happens in this one. It's not like, oh, look at my slaves all in my garden. No.
Am I the only one who thought the little shrimp creatures were the people she had literally got to sell their souls to her were creepier than just dying?
Them being the little the garden of souls was a lot worse than dead. But there's skulls and there's mermaid skeletons all over the place. So yeah, it looks like she's eating them. That's what it looks like. She's devouring them some way.
Which again is a little bit less dramatic than I magically exacted their souls from them, basically.
Oh, hold on. I should make a banner here. We should already have one. But let me do this for people. I know we're an hour into talking about this movie, but I guess
because that is actually the most sinister part of Poor Unfortunate Souls for me is now it's happened once or twice and they couldn't pay the price and I had to rake them across the coast.
Well, if you're going about the lyrics, the one thing I noticed was there's a scene in the animated film where I just went slow because I put up the spoilers banner. Let me take that down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought it would be good. Sorry, guys. But there's a scene in the animated film where she says pathetic. And in this one, she just flat out goes, poor unfortunate souls, pathetic, and I'm like, you kind of
that didn't bother me because even when I was a kid, I thought to myself, she's miming whispering, but she's not actually whispering. So of course Ariel still heard that.
Yeah. Okay, so we get on land. It follows the same thing. She meets Eric. Eric's like, oh, she doesn't talk. And the next day, they decide, okay, we're going to go around the island. They're sending a whole bunch of horses and carriages to look around the island to find the fantasy girl. And Eric spends the day with her. This expands a bit from the original movie where they go and they find a party and they dance around. They go.
There's about 45 minutes of added material in this one.
And it works because it expands the story. This time we get more of why Eric would fall in love with her, and why she would fall in love with him. They're spending time on the island, and even though she doesn't speak, they're both very much enjoying each other's company. And Sebastian's like, look, they're going way too slow. Let's change things up. And during them going through the bazaar, they got a hat for Eric, and Scuttle comes along, takes it, and leads him to the boat where they then get into the water. And of course, they kiss the girl, which I got to tell you, I laughed my ass off at this scene. Awkwafina, I know I just sent everybody out of the room. Awkwafina does the same thing in the movie. Oh, here goes. Yeah, let me try. It's good. But then when Sebastian takes over and they're actually singing the song, you can hear Awkwafina, and she's not horrible. She's not good, but she's not horrible. But there was one scene where, you know, they're on the paddle. In the movie it's frogs, but in this one it's Flounder, Scuttle, and Sebastian. And she gets they're at the top, and it sounds so good, and then she goes, Jessica, and I don't know why. I just lost it. I do know why. Because Gail can't sing. She really can't sing.
And now, please enjoy the Gail beats the crap out of Eglantine portion.
My wife is horrible at singing, and I love it, because anytime she sings, I know she's happy, right? But we've had times where me and my daughters, we might be playing the Monkees or something, you know, take the last train to Clarksville. And then Gail will be like, yeah, no, man, and it'll just be so wildly off. So when Aquafina comes up and she does that note, I was just, you couldn't pay me to stop laughing. But it was so enjoyable. Let's see what
Ahsoka is being slightly spurgy about what the Garden of Souls was. I would say though, Ahsoka, that one of the things that made the Garden of Souls work as well as it did is you couldn't really tell what they were turned into. I never thought they were eels though.
I had a first moment where, you know, when Ariel's flying into Ursula's area, she's grabbed by a whole bunch of things. And I thought maybe that's who, that's the souls. But then when she is actually talking about the people who couldn't pay, she's holding a skinned skull.
Yeah.
In the original movie, when she talks about,
you actually get to see one of them turn into one of the little shrimpy things.
I put 2 and 2 together, and this is what I got, that they're dead. Okay.
Again, I think that both, like, thematically and magically speaking, I think the transfigured ones work better than the obvious, you know, I just skinned them and possibly ate them.
Okay.
But that's just me.
So Ursula sees this, and like in the animated film, she says, well, time for Ursula to do her thing. And she, of course, shows up as the girl that saved Eric. Of course, we all know. And Eric's feeling a little bit off. He just spent a beautiful day with a beautiful girl, and he's falling in love with Ariel. But here's the woman he has promised that he's in love with, and that everybody went to. So he feels a little trapped. And I like the fact that they showed that a lot more here than they did in the animated film.
In the animated one, it was basically, well, she has the voice, so I guess I was wrong.
Yeah. And it goes on. Another little nitpick I'm going to point out is that it wasn't a wedding. It was a
party.
An engagement. But here's the thing. Is that bad or worse? Is it worse or is it better? Because they did just really meet.
I mean, on the one hand, if we're going by, like, real world logic, sure, I guess it's better. But thematically, it's a bit odd, especially because when the movie is set, which I believe is still, like, you know, late 1700s, early 1800s, that kind of stuff didn't happen. So,
Okay. Well, they do the engagement. And you're right. It would have been an arranged thing, or they could get married, because a lot of people did that. And it's a Disney trope anyway. But Scuttle comes along and interrupts the engagement. And Ariel gets her voice just as she does in the original. They're about to kiss, but it's too late. Ursula, so everything plays out like at this point, like the original movie. Ursula carries into the water. King Triton comes along. They make a deal for Ursula's soul. King Triton's taken out of the picture. Melissa McCarthy, being Ursula, of course, grows to a gigantic size. She's trying to kill Eric and Ariel. I wish I could have seen that part. That part was dark as didn't bother Gail.
That's the one thing the trailers did show, is a lot of the lighting is off on this one.
This scene, absolutely. If you're going to hate on the lighting of a scene, and you told me, well, the ending and the boat scene, but definitely the ending, you could see that they've got Ursula in some sort of makeup at this point. Like she's monstrous at this point, but they never take time to show you, and they never have, and there's never good enough lighting
You
to
can't
see it.
And
that was horrible. That is, if I were to say this part is actually actively bad, it's the ending. It's the big climactic scene. My other, it's a bit of a nit to pick, is the whole thing is set up. Triton doesn't like humans, so Eric kills Ursula. That's the original film. Now Triton understands not all humans are bad. Okay, you can go be with my daughter. In this one, Ariel runs the boat through.
Yeah, because we had to do the tiniest bit of girl bossing, because why not?
Yeah. So it was. I didn't care for that, but then, like I said, her killing her instead of Eric, that's mostly a nitpick. More so the lighting. The lighting was horrible in the ending. Thankfully, I've seen the original. I know what was going on.
Hopefully when Disney goes back through and does a remaster, kind of like they did with their animated ones, they'll fix the freaking lighting for some of these shots.
So, and then if it ends the same way, of course, with Ariel and Eric getting together. I loved they kind of mirrored the scene where they're swimming off and all the mermaids pop up. You get to see all of them. It's very nice, good, colorful shot, and the movie ends. I was so happy that I didn't get the movie I was expecting.
Because the movie we were all expecting was they're going to rake a treasured animated memory of all of us over the metaphoric coals to call back to the song. I thought
this was going to be one more dull, bland piece of live action remake, and I liked it a lot. I can't say really I loved it. I don't know where I would put it. I know I would put it at the higher echelon of the Disney live action remakes, but what do I grade it is where I have a problem right now, because sometimes I leave a film and I've got a very good, secure idea. Like it might, like when I left John Wick, I knew it was an A-. When I left Guardians, that's a solid A. This one I liked. I want to sit, but I'm thinking this one is B+ film for me, maybe even an A-. I truly enjoyed it that freaking much, but I don't know where it stands. Is it actually excellent, or is it just very, very good? That's where I'm sitting.
See, right I'm stuck in a similar spot, but lower, where I'm like, is it a very solid C+, or do I like it just enough to make it warrant a B-?
Okay, let me go and tell everybody our grading system. We do minuses and pluses. F's are degrees of horrible. D's are degrees of bad. C's are degrees of average. And the rule is C+ is the highest grade you give without recommending it. And B- is the lowest grade you give, and it's a cautious recommendation. B's are levels of good, and A's are levels of excellent. And that's where we stand. So at this point in time, I want to give it a B+. It might raise, it might lower. Once again, recency bias, but I'll give it a B+. And so I'm calling you out, man. You got to stand up for what you believe in. At least
I think I'm going to say a C+.
C+,
because I think part of the reason I might be being more charitable than I otherwise would be is because I was expecting this to be abjectly horrible. I was expecting Melissa McCarthy to come in and do what she did with Identity Thief or 2016 Ghostbusters or something like that. I was expecting the lighting to be awful. I was expecting to not even be able to see half the movie, and it wasn't that. But on the other hand, you left out Les Poissons. There were scenes that in climactic important moments that I couldn't see. There are things that it's sort of a this doesn't need to exist, but I don't hate that it does exist sort of thing. So C+.
Okay. Ahsoka is saying C-, which to me is the most boring movies. Those are the ones I put to C- because they're not bad enough to be bad and they're not good enough to be good. But there you go. Obviously, I mean, you can tell I really enjoyed this film just from the excitement of this review.
I give Melissa McCarthy an A+ for not doing what I was horrified she would do, and actually getting a pretty decent performance as Ursula. But
I'll
the
do
movie
it
is a C+.
I'll do it across the whole cast. Halle Berry here, she freaking nailed it. She was really good in the role, and she's got a great voice. But the true standout, Melissa McCarthy kicked ass. That being said, there's a live action version of The Little Mermaid on Disney Plus. Check out Queen Latifah because she.
Honestly, as good as Melissa McCarthy was, I still maintain that Queen Latifah would have been better.
Maybe we know. Well, I mean, we saw her in the live action, but that's not a movie where you get multiple.
She was a stage performer, but with the same level of VFX and the same level of prep time and seriousness to it, I think she could have done even better. That being said, again,
what we got
that was the one fear I had was Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, and she not only was she not bad, she was the best part of the movie. Which, given that Ursula was always, in my opinion, the best part of The Little Mermaid, but then again, I have a tendency to root for villains, so there's that.
So there you go, gang. Those are our opinions of The Little Mermaid. It is it's good to average what you're getting. Good to high average, by the way. So very good to high average. I'm like I said, it's early. My grade may change and actually end up an A-. I'm gonna watch it again and see about that. There you go. If you like the video, please click like. Go on over to Movie Mojo, and I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna
because some people warned you that this would happen.
I know. Anyway, go on over, click like, and share the whole 9 yards. If you like to help out the channel, the link to the Ko-Fi is in the description below. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.